It's better to live your own identity imperfectly than to live an imitation of somebody else's life to perfection. You know, right now in our world, it takes an immense amount of courage to be yourself, to live your life as yourself, to pursue the things that you are interested in, to be your own person, to have your own stance, to be confident in just who you are, just to go out in public as who you are. So many people are not living lives that are their own. They're living suggestions and demands of other people. And right now, our society, let's get something straight, is financially invested in your living a life that is of their choosing. Whether it's your loved ones around you, whether it's social media giving you suggestions on how you should be, who you should be, what you should think, who you should like, what you should like. And right now it takes an immense amount of courage just to be yourself. Just to be yourself. And there's an immense amount of pressure to push people in different directions, to make people identify with different pockets of things, you know. And our society right now is hell-bent on making you feel so inferior, right, to yourself, that you feel that you need these things that, quote unquote, will make you feel better, will complete you. And the thing about it, once they tear you down, once they break you down, once they make you feel you need, they always got something to sell you. And it's usually something temporary, you know. It's usually something temporary to just patch a hole, you know. And it's something that you got to keep buying and buying and buying or investing in. And they just break you down to the point where I look at people right now, and everybody right now, tell me if everybody realizes this. Everybody's walking around with this idea that somehow they were traumatized as a child. I had trauma. That's the new buzzword, trauma. Everybody was traumatized, okay? Everybody was traumatized as a child. And so that's the reason why you can't cope with life as it is, because you were traumatized as a child. And because you were traumatized, you need therapy. And while you're doing that, it's an excuse for you to act like a shithead. But you know what? It's not your fault. Go ahead and do this, and you can be that, and it's okay, and it's okay. And people keep sliding further down and getting weaker and weaker as people. Weaker minded, less capable about making a decision and sticking to the decision, incapable about accepting responsibility for the decisions that they made. It's always someone else's fault because they were traumatized. Okay? It's always not your fault. Because here's the thing. There's a certain amount of responsibility that comes with realizing that the things that you have done in your life were the things that you did. The places that where you find yourself in life is where you are. And you can change it at any point in time once you change your mentality. All right? But in order to do that, you have to figure out who you are and start living your life. Stop letting people tell you how to live your life. Stop letting people tell you who you are. Stop letting people lie to you. Okay? You have to learn how to accept yourself. And by accept yourself, I don't mean accept dysfunction. We all have things in our lives that need to be and can be fixed. But if you're going to fix it, okay? No one's going to be perfect in this life, all right? You know, if you don't like your body as is, right? You were given a certain body genetically. Do the best you can and maximize that. All right? That's not to say that people can't go out there and have, minor fixes, and this is not to castigate somebody, let's say a young lady who has had several children and she wants to go and get a tummy tuck because she feels better about her body image if she went to get a tummy tuck to put her body back where it used to be after having children. There's nothing wrong with that. All right? There's nothing wrong with that. However, there is something wrong with her thinking there's something wrong with her if she doesn't do that. Okay? If that is something you desire to do, by all means, do it. Okay? But do not feel that you are inferior or less than if you don't. Do not feel that you need to come out with all these things, all these attachments and accessories. Men, do not feel you need to buy all this stuff just to be accepted or seen as. When we were younger, as men, as me, as a younger man, we bought things, went places, wore things that we didn't really like ourselves, but we just did it because we thought other people would like it. We were imitating lives and lifestyles of people who we were told were popular and in, because the more we look like them, the more likely people would like us. And that takes you so far away from who you really are. Because in a lot of instances, when I look back, I was like, I didn't really even enjoy those things. I didn't want to buy those things. Those things are not really me. But you find yourself going so far and far down the path of trying to imitate lifestyles of other people that you even lose track of who you are. And then people wonder why they're not happy. You're not happy because you're nothing like who you really are. You're running around trying to impress people, looking for confirmation, looking for acceptance from people. And guess what? You're not even able to accept yourself because you're not being yourself. You don't even know who you are now. The old saying, be very mindful about who you pretend to be, you might forget who you really are. A lot of people have lost track of who they really are. And they feel lost, they feel confused, they feel trapped in lives and bodies and situations, and they don't even understand how they got there. And it takes an immense amount of courage to just stand up and be like, look, this is not who I am. I'm going to be me. Okay? That is one of the most freeing things I can tell you. Is to be you. And then once you decide to be you, you have to make a commitment to be the best you. Because if you're not the best version of yourself, you won't be happy. If you know you're capable of doing more, being more, becoming more, and you elect not to, that is the source of your real unhappiness. Okay? And you can never be happy being someone else. Let's get that straight. Inside, you can never be happy because you're always acting. Okay? You're always acting. The role always changes. Why? Because it's not yours. You're not the one writing the script. Society's writing your script. Someone else is writing your script. If that person changes how they dress, you have to change how you dress, regardless of how you feel about it. Okay? If society now comes up with different parameters for what you should think, how you should act, how you should feel, all of a sudden now you have to think, act, and feel in a different way. Why? Because that's what it is now. That's what's hot. You have to accept that. You have to do that. Okay? There's a lot of value in finding out who you are. There's a lot of value in living your life. There's a lot of value in having the courage to say, this is who I am. And I always tell people, it takes a lot to be able to come out into the world unedited and say, this is who I am. The people who love you will love you. Everybody's not going to like you. Like my dad used to tell me, right? Okay? No one will always love you. All right? Everybody can't like you, son. Everybody can't, his words were. Everybody can't like you, son. He says, think about it. You don't like everybody. How is it possible for everyone to like you? Come out unedited. Be you. The people that like you will like you. And the ones that don't, God bless them. That's it. Okay? Imagine if everybody could come out unedited. I mean, look at, and our society right now preys on people. I see there's an amazing trend. And it's getting to the ridiculous. I see young boys, like everybody's walking around with these big gaudy chains on. What exactly are you saying? What are you doing? And it's like, and you can see that as programmed behavior, because it's impossible for everyone in a particular demographic to like the same thing, to want to dress the same way, to want to wear the same brands. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible for that to be the case. But we find our society right now has become so programmed that an entire swath of people are listening to, dressing like, and doing the exact same thing, and getting the same results that are not exactly positive. But yet they can't even see that. Okay? And we talked about that the other day, what you're feeding your subconscious. They're constantly bombarding your subconscious mind with these images, these thoughts, this music, this vibration that is actually destroying you. And a lot of people are just eating it up. I saw this, and I'm going to post it later on, because I think it needs to be looked at. I saw this post a couple of days ago, and I was kind of tossing up, wouldn't I actually even discuss this? Is it worth my time? But the post was directed at women, and unfortunately, a lot of this stuff is directed at women, unfortunately. But there's a fair amount that's directed at men as well. But this one was directed at women, and the post was basically saying, it's okay for a woman to be larger than her mate. And it went down this whole diatribe, justifying how she felt about being larger than her mate, and it's okay, and she was comfortable with her body and all that kind of crap like that. But in the very same post, they simultaneously was trying to sell her, or sell women, a weight loss product. I'm like, wait a minute, what? You're just now telling them that it's okay for a woman to be larger than her mate, right? But then at the same time, you're trying to push them a product. Exactly. Someone says, since when? I actually did a little bit of research, and I found out that 98 or 99% of mammals, the male is always significantly larger than the female. For all of our lives, men of the same height have always been larger than women of the exact same height. But now, what they try to do is sort of kind of make you happy with dysfunction, happy with something that is not the norm, but at the same time prey on you by marketing you something to make you feel better temporarily. All right? And it's disturbing. All right? And even now, when we look at the trend, and I don't know what's happened over the last 5 years or so, where, they've made it socially acceptable now for men carrying purses. Once again, it's not necessarily the fact that it's a purse or anything like that, but it's about the social engineering, all right? For centuries, carrying those type of bags were associated with women. But in order to sell more bags, right, they're now marketing it to men. All right? And once again, you can argue this thing about, society making roles for genders and all that kind of stuff like that, or making things acceptable or whatever for genders. Some of the things I don't subscribe to, some of the things I look at and say, how did that even start? But once again, our society is financially invested in your feeling less than, inferior, and financially invested in being able to dictate to you what is cool and acceptable. And they use your celebrities, your influencers, your TV, your music to permeate your mind with these ideas. And when you're susceptible to that, you walk around and every day you have a new suggestion on who you should be, what you should like, who you should love, who you should hate. And you're making these decisions, and these decisions are not even yours because you're not even making these decisions on full knowledge. It's like I want to know when it became mandatory, right, for young ladies to wear these huge eyelashes. Like, who told you that was cool? Where was this decided? Because right now, people are making billions of dollars off of these accessories that didn't even exist a decade ago. Okay? Didn't even exist. And now it's a must-have. Okay? Now it's a must-have. I remember in the 90s, the entire makeup culture that we have right now didn't even exist. Okay? Now we have to have entire art projects on our face just to go out. Okay? I remember people would take the time to actually do their natural hair. Now that's no longer. People are invested more in wigs and weaves and stuff like that. That is trillions of dollars that you have been browbeat, okay, into participating in. It's one thing if that's what you want to do, but I just want to know when it became so widespread and cool for everyone to be doing it, and doesn't anybody look back and say, wait a minute, when did this happen? Okay? And it goes not just with things like that. Even like, I always talk about, even like the coffee culture. Everybody's drinking coffee now. When did that happen? Because I remember back in the 90s, everybody wasn't drinking coffee. The only people that drank coffee in the 90s were truckers, right? People who had to stay up and work shitty jobs to stay up, so they drank coffee. And the only place you could really get coffee from, like that, was 7-Eleven. Okay? When did people start spending $250 on nails? Okay? And they feed your insecurity so much that I literally heard a young lady was distraught because her nails were not perfect. Oh, my nails. People are going to think, what's your... Newsflash, sweetie. I have a lot of male friends, and I've been a man my entire life, last I checked, right? And my decision to talk or entertain a young lady has little to do with her nail design and whether or not her nails are just clean and presentable. And I'll be honest with you, I really don't even look at your nails like that. At least that's me. I don't know how many guys in the chat can actually put their hands up. Like, I don't really care about your nails and the design. All I care about is that they're clean. That's it. All right? I prefer the less makeup, the better. Because actually that's who you are. And eventually, hopefully, that's what I'm going to see. Right? And I prefer you to wear your natural hair. As a matter of fact, I have dated many women that had short hair. Especially when they say, I rather short hair because it's easier to take care of. You know what? I can agree with that, because I've seen the struggle people go through having to wrangle with their hair. You want to wear it short? Fine. You want to wear dreads or twists? Fine. You want to take the time to do your hair? Fine. But don't feel the need to put all these additions and stuff, because it actually takes away from you. And for me, I'd rather you be you, you know? And I say that even to my daughters, you know? My daughters have a lot of hair, you know? Like, just wear your hair naturally. Learn a natural style and keep it as that. If we look at people who are considered standards of beauty, right? Right? Whether it's Caucasian women like, Marilyn Monroe or Brooke Shields, or whether it's women like Halle Berry or Nia Long, those women have had the exact same hairstyle pretty much for the last couple of decades. Doesn't really change much. Standard. Okay? Be very mindful with this world right now. Okay? And this is both men and women. Take a step back and ask yourself, is this truly me? Exactly, Grace Jones. Sinead O'Connor. We can go down the line. All right? And it's something, it's just like I talked about the other day. When you're being you, your clothes don't matter. Okay? It is your energy that matters when you're being you. Like we talked about Michael Jackson and what he wore. Who really would want to dress like Michael Jackson? But did we ever talk about how Michael Jackson dressed? No. We talked about Michael Jackson. Why? Because his personality was what it was. You are who you are. Your personality, not what you wear. Not your nails, not your hair. You. Your personality. And the stronger your personality, the stronger your vibration, the more you invest in you being the best you, and you presenting the best you, your best energy, your best mind, your best smile, your best personality, everything. When you bring that to the table, all those things matter less and less. Okay? Nobody cares what shoes you have on. Okay? Nobody cares whether or not I'm wearing a $9 t-shirt. Okay? Or a $900 t-shirt. Like, who the hell wants to wear a $900 t-shirt anyway? But hey, that's you, that's you. But a lot of times when people are less confident in who they are, that's when they feel the need to have all those additions. Because what you're trying to do then, you're trying to borrow the reputation, borrow the image of the things that you're trying to associate with, to obscure the image of what you don't have. But when you feel that you are enough, which we all are enough, you don't need those things. Once again, if you truly want to make improvements to yourself, like I said, a woman who's had multiple kids and wants to get a tummy tuck or something like that, because you know what? Hey, I'm all for it. All right? I'm all for it. But make sure you're doing it because you want to do it. Not because society tells you that's what you should do. All right? Stacey said, because I look like a superhero in a $9 t-shirt. I like my little superhero t-shirts. But yeah, okay? It is always better to live your own identity, even imperfectly, because no one's perfect, than to try to live somebody else's life to perfection. Look at you and ask yourself, am I living the life I truly want to live? Nothing's worse than being successful at something that doesn't matter. Nothing's worse than investing your life and your soul into something that isn't even important to you. Nothing's worse than having a whole bunch of people around you who love a person that's not even you. That creates depression. When you see a whole bunch of people ingratiated to a person and that you're pretending to be, and that person isn't even you. You know, I've talked to people who are, A-list celebrities. And you'll be surprised that a lot of these A-list celebrities that you see, the image that they put forward is not even who they really are. And so every time they come out in public, they have to pretend to be something. And usually these people are miserable. They drink, they have to do drugs, they're depressed, they have anxiety. Why? Because they too fell into the trap. And they went so far down the rabbit hole that some of them can't even figure out their way out. Okay? They can't even figure out their way out. Someone says, don't forget the BBL trends. I mean, that's a whole different animal right there, because that's a whole different animal. Everybody knows about that, so we're just going to leave that one alone. But live your life, guys. Be authentically who you are. All right? And the people who will like you will like you. That is one of the things that I love about my life as it is. People always ask me that. Doesn't social media get hard for you? And how can you do that? And I was like, it's very easy. I'm me. The hardest part about being on social media, I'll be honest with you guys, I was just having this conversation with somebody yesterday. The hardest part about being on social media is sometimes getting out and just talking when I don't feel like talking or engaging. And you know what? When I don't feel like talking and engaging, I just don't. Sometimes I just don't do a live. Why? Just don't feel like talking. All right? That's the hardest part. But for me, it's easy because I'm never pretending. These are my thoughts. This is what I believe. That's why I don't need notes. That's why I can wake up in the morning and just do a live, because it's like me talking to friends. And I appreciate you guys for giving me the platform to be able to express some things and the things I think and what have you. But, yeah. Make sure that you can live your life and be yourself, because you'd rather have yourself and no friends than have a whole bunch of friends but yet lose yourself. And that is one thing I refuse to do. To have a whole bunch of people follow me and love me for somebody that I'm not. So that every day I feel like I'm a person in prison, that I have to come and pretend to be this guy. All right? Exactly. Somebody said it very well. The opposite of courage is not fear, it's conformity. Think about how many people conform. People jump on trends. How many people are pretending to be, acting as if. All right? I've never been one to follow the crowd. All right? Never been one to follow the crowd. There's no value in that for me, honestly. All right? There's no value in that, because you know when you're doing it. And sometimes you do it so long that you get lost in the crowd. You get lost in the sauce. Right? You forget who you are. You forget what you like. How'd you even start liking that? How'd you even start liking that? Where'd that come from? Let's get back to being real. But most especially being real to ourselves. Be real to yourself. All right? Talk to and be around the people who encourage you to be authentic. That's one of the reasons why I'm authentic, because I think authenticism encourages other people to be authentic. All right? You can always work on your real self. All right? Every day I wake up, I try to make myself better in one way, shape, or form. I try to improve myself. I never stop working on myself mentally, spiritually, socially, physically. Every day is something to do. Because in order for me to be truly happy with myself, I have to make the most of myself. And when I am the best of me, I can give the best of me to you, not scraps, not an imitation, not a knockoff. But the sad thing is our society loves the knockoff people, the pretend people. The people who talk a game but don't live the game, And one of the things I try to pride myself in is I try as best I can to walk the talk that I talk.